At long last, chat, it has finally occurred. It's Monday Mayhem. We're here after many trials and tribulations. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Hope we're ready to be ready to talk about some Warhammer 40,000. Jump scared by intro music. Yeah, I apologize for that, folks. I set this all up last night while I was waiting for my video to render, and I set up all my live streams for the week. I was ready to go, and then I ended up finishing that video, the Monday Best Armies of 40k video, this morning at like 7 a.m. And so that was a little bit longer, a little bit later than I expected. Had to run some errands. The saga of Trevy's car continues a little bit today, but we're not going to get into that. Instead, what we're going to get into is a Supermajor that happened in Austria that I had no idea about. But big shout out to the folks over on the Best Armies of 40k video who fucking told me about it, because I literally would not have known about the most secret Supermajor in all of Warhammer 40,000. Apparently, oh my god. How do I feel about the Death Guard changes, like the new Codex stuff? I think, I don't know, I'm kind of excited for the new Death Guard Codex. I think it's cool that Death Guard, I think, are going to play, hopefully, fingers crossed, are going to play actually like Death Guard, where they're jousting Plague Marines at you and stuff. I hope they don't become kind of a degenerate, like, just death ball like they are right now. They're kind of just this big, like, brick of vehicles, which is like, I don't know. It's fine, I guess. They have like a sub-theme of vehicle stuff, but we'll see. Fire support Renos, though. Holy shit. What a time to be alive. So, yeah. Doing MFM points today. MFM points we'll talk about tomorrow, I think. We can certainly talk about new Space Wolf stuff. That is definitely what's going on. But yeah, we do have some peeks at new Death Guard and World Leaders points values. I think what we're going to do is we're trying to maybe do some list building and stuff on Tactical Tuesday tomorrow. Today, I want to do some more general list compositional stuff. Is what's going on. Defiler's going to be a war crime. Yeah, I'm a little worried about the Defiler. Definitely giving the Defiler a relevant ability is cool. Eat your heart out, World Eaters. You get to shoot. We get to Auspex scan people within 12. Cool, man. Cool. Sick, dude. Good job. Although, you can do it on transports, which might actually be good, so we'll see. I don't know. Let's talk about some 40k chats. So I have not had a chance to take a peek at this event, but this is what I want to talk about, is this Supermajor right here. So here's what I do. Just to showcase normally what happens is that I will set a date range, usually Thursday or Friday of the weekend before. And then that will determine sort of the data set that I pull from for best armies. Is this going to load? BCP just did this huge update, and they added this new, like, let's see if it's implemented here. They added this new live update system, which on a level, it broke something. Something sucks because it doesn't. It says it's a live update thing, but I think it like pings. It must ping their server at a preset time, and so it doesn't automatically update when things change on the site anymore. At least from an organizer standpoint. So if I'm in my event, and I've done I had to like input a bunch of scores this morning while I was doing new pairings for my events. And one thing I noticed is like I would put a score and I would hit enter, and then the window would go away, but nothing would change because it hadn't like pinged the server for a refresh yet. So it feels really chunky and really slow. I don't know if that's exactly what the technical thing is, but it definitely feels like it's a little bit more tepid than it was last week or whenever they made this. They updated this implementation. Apparently, it broke a bunch of like list scraping, like stat compiling websites and stuff too. Which I mean, that might be in their best interest, to be fair, because they do ask you to subscribe to look at lists. So the people scraping lists, and I guess maybe me to a lesser extent, I do pay them. I have a subscription. I pay Best Coast Pairings more than I pay Games Workshop. But I think they do ask those people. They do ask people to subscribe in order to do that. But I don't know. It is what it is. Anyway, folks, I totally missed this event because I normally I keep out weekly events because almost every time those just like inundate the results with like local leagues and things. This, however, was a super major that was run on I guess it was run on Thursday, and I only looked at Friday results. So it was a Thursday Friday event, which I'm sure it's not like that's never happened in the history of the game, but that is very uncommon. So this caught me way off guard. And then somebody posted like, "Hey, you didn't cover the results from this enormous fucking super major." And I was like, "Wait, there was a super major?" Yeah, it was just in the middle of the week. Wild. So I'm excited to talk about this. We got a lot of Chaos Demons absolutely ripping it up, which I think is where all the Chaos Demon players went. I was like, wow, there's not that many undefeated Chaos Demon players today. Maybe Chaos Demons aren't actually that good. No, it turns out they all just went to this one event and they all played there. So anyway, that's what we're going to be discussing today. So that would be cool. Could you always link your Warhammer Plus account with BCP? No, you could. I don't know why. I'm not sure what that does. I think it's maybe for tracking for Warhammer's tracking, like Games Workshop stat tracking, and it also might have something to do with golden ticket events or something. I have no idea. That functionality is not new. I think that was implemented a year or so ago, but I don't know what it does because obviously there's no like obvious integration between Warhammer, between the Warhammer Plus and or your Warhammer or whatever they call it. And best guess pairings, like pairing stuff. Games Workshop wants your data. I mean, for sure they want game data. 100% they want game data. But they also might be looking at player metrics as well. I'm sure they can. I know that there were discussions happening, and this might be on the down low. But I was talking to some people who are in the balance program, and they said that Games Workshop has pretty detailed metrics on competitive player populations and things like that. Which is probably why we see such a push towards competitive play more recently. I think the Games Workshop has realized that it does push the needle quite a bit in terms of sales. So, and all the people who are like, I play casually and 40k and competitive players never actually buy miniatures and all stuff like that. I don't think that's true, my guy. But yeah, so I'm sure that there's some amount of tracking going on in that way for sure. They're storing all pictures of Inky I attached to my BCP lists. I haven't done that before. I did realize today, I think I included this in my video, that somebody had pictures in their BCP event description, and I was like, how do I do that? Because that would make my life a lot easier, I think. I'm just sure that's the case, but maybe it would. Maybe we could include Inky pictures in all my events. Maybe more people would sign up to pods. Breaking Head streamed day 2 in English. The View Journeyman accent. Breaking Head sounds fine. Was that Fred and Malta? I love those guys. That's cool. Actually, I didn't realize that, and I bet if I had looked it up, I would have known. Let's give them a shout out. Let's go and find. Oh yeah, there they are. Oh, the teams, they streamed team finals, and they streamed singles finals. Yeah, look at that chat. Ooh, could use a light maybe, but that's okay. Look at this gorgeous demon army. Damn. All right, go check them out, folks. Maybe drop a link in the description. Oop, or in the chats for folks who want to watch the games. So let's talk about what won. Niklas Fritzchen. I'm sure Jean-Marc can correct me if I'm wrong in any of my pronunciations. Was playing Shadow Legion, which is interesting. So every demon player essentially this week in other events played Demonic Incursion. I'm interested here. It was an 8 out of 10. I'll take that. This was Demonic Incursion. Yeah, so Demonic Incursion is really becoming kind of like the standard once again for Chaos Demons. Obviously, Niklas is the highest performing player this weekend, but I think was outnumbered by Demonic Incursion players. He was playing Shadow Legion, the Shady Legos. playing Be'lakor, the Fade Thirster, big sixer of Nurglings that absorbs a lot of like early game table space. First of all, you can kind of 6 Nurglings is almost good enough to basically subsume the entire no man's land with anti-infiltration auras, and that allows your Seekers and Beasts of Nurgle to scout unobstructed. I guess we also probably have Leaping Shadows of the Dark Comet. We do, yeah. So we watched this list at Battle to End Alzheimer's pretty extensively between my stream and Wargames Live. I know that Derek Apshe was on there for quite a few games showcasing this build, although this one has a lot of Screamers in it, which is neat. So just a huge amount of forward pressure. The Nurglings, assuming you win the deployment roll-off, can just eat the entire center of the table. It doesn't really matter if your opponent kills them. It's 60 points. Like, who actually cares? The awkward part is if they give up secondaries to your opponent, but that's just like, you have to live with that. But the other thing is that sometimes they just don't die. If you can string them correctly, you can sometimes make them unshootable outside 18, which makes your opponent's target priority really awkward. And then they're also -1 to be wounded against essentially every weapon in the entire game in Shadow Legion. So it's 24 wounds with -1 to be wounded, like basically the equivalent of like, I don't know, they're like T5-ish with -1 to wound. So they're actually like pretty tough to knock down for most anti-infantry shooting, and sometimes they just live, and then they start regenerating once they get back into Be'lakor's aura, and then they're late game, they're back in, and they start doing secondaries. It's crazy. We have a single Beast of Nurgle, so 18 Screamers is kind of the pièce de résistance here, and I know these guys have been in a little bit of there's been some discussion about Screamers recently. We had some on stream over on 40k's. I don't know how I feel about them quite yet. I think that in a list that's playing around with a bunch of different unit profiles, I think that Screamers are pretty good. I was playing them in a largely Khorne list, so they didn't really have any internal synergy. But the big benefit, obviously, when you take the big units, your slashing dive becomes pretty good. You start to inflict 3 mortal wounds pretty consistently. They have 18 anti-monster, anti-vehicle 4 attacks. They don't really have any like offensive buffs you can really give them in the detachment, but they are enough attacks by themselves to knock out like a 10-ish wound vehicle without really any help. Or if you can get like a shooting activation into a bigger thing, the Screamers will just kill it. And then on the crackback, they're all -1 to be hit. They have a 4+ invulnerable save, and they're protecting 18 wounds. And if you don't kill them, you can pay a CP to regenerate up to 5 wounds to the unit, because a Screamer comes back at full, and you can heal another Screamer up to 2. So with what's the name of the stratagem? Death Denied, I believe, is what it's called. There it is. So they're really, really like hyper resilient. These little jerks. These little silly goobers. So anyway, we also have Accursed Cultists plus Raptors for utility. I think they're like natural deep strikers. I wonder if there's like much synergy there. You can lance them, so they're okay at fighting, and then you can also up down them and a demon unit for 1 CP. So that's actually pretty reasonable. So they can be hopping around the table pretty reliably. But for the most part, I think we're just like kind of we're trying to jail the opponent early game with the Accursed Cultists, and then follow that up with Screamers and just basically keep your opponent from being able to contest you on primary, so the Raptors can jump around and do secondaries. Move block in your deployment zone reminds me of Wolf Jail. Yeah, it's big Wolf Jail energy for sure. The Accursed Cultists threat range on turn 1 is like ludicrous. It's absolutely insane. Obviously, you don't get like the turn 1 rapid ingress stuff, but the unit scouts 9, which if I had to guess would be something that would, if this detachment ends up being too strong, and I don't know what the stats look like on it, but that would be an enhancement that gets changed. Scout 9 is so long. It's like so unnecessarily long too, and I don't really understand why it is so far. It's just like crazy. So they move 9 and then they advance a charge on their activated turn. So they go another potentially like 12 and then charge, because they go insane distances. It's crazy. And then just like basically wall your opponent in. So you're trying to deal with like 20 of these dudes. 21 I think is a full unit. Is that right? It's like 5 dudes plus the unit. And then 6 Nurglings and a unit of Seekers. They can all just like basically body block you, and that lets the Screamers stage in the middle, and then the next turn you get hit by the Bloodthirster and the Screamers, and it's It's all ogre for the most part. Yeah. It's crazy about of aggression for sure. So good stuff. Kind of classic Shadow Legion. It's interesting to see success from the 18 Screamers camp. It's the cool thing about the detachment that you can play basically however you want, right? It is awkward that it becomes a... If you wanted to force it into one particular SKU, it's almost a better outlet for any of those sub-factions than the sub-faction detachments themselves. Like, you'll basically never play Blood Legion because Shadow Legion is just better at doing Corn Demons than Blood Legion is at doing them, for sure.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. Spoiler for your next challenge list. T12 Doomstack, 3 goes, 3 for DGDP, 3 DG Land Raiders and Morty. Might need to be 2 Land Raiders to fit.
In the Nurgle Demon detachment? That actually sounds sick. Unironically, that might be a good list. 3 Grid and Clean Ones is like 700 points, right? The Foot Death Guard Demon Princes are like, they have a CP cost reduction aura, so they're like 200, right? So that's like 600. So that's 13. Mortarion is like 380, right? So that's 17. I don't know if we're getting more than 1 Land Raider in there. Valerian squad was just killed. The ACDC squad, yeah, for sure. Valerian's gonna like fuck that shit up. They're AP1, right? So Valerian's like armor of contempt, bitch, and then they all just go stabbing. That's fine. I think in that case, like you have to play a different game plan, right? If the like you just try not to engage that dude with with like AP1 across cultists. I think you die. Next list is 3 Lords of Skulls. I'm gonna put together I think a command. I meant to do it this weekend and then I ran out of time, but I'm gonna put together a command to codify our list challenge rules. I think for when we do list challenges. But yeah, I'll play Pocket 3 Lords of Skulls. I'll play whatever. Come at me, bro. I'll play anything. We won with all Homunculus Coven, so what could possibly go wrong? Somehow we won with all Homunculus Coven. Should we talk about some demonic incursion? Is this a real name? Panagiatus Caladitus. That I'm gonna Google that. Is this like actually some sort of like a weird disease? No, that's a real name that people have in real life. I guess there's a guy, a League of Legends guy who has that name. What the fuck? Yeah, that's just a real human name. Huh. Well, I'm gonna call my mom and ask her why she didn't name me this, because this name rules. Are you kidding me? That is a hell of a name, dude. My guy. Incredible. So just named 3 times and his furniture started floating. I know. Yeah, I'm summoning some sort of eldritch power into my my voice box by simply uttering it. Maybe like that's the way we unlock the power of the Greek gods. You know, it's like we say his name. I'm sure that there's a cool way to pronounce it too, and I'm doing it justice, which makes me sad. So he went 5-1 with Chaos Demons, but made top 4 cut. There were a bunch of people who didn't make top 4 cut because they had draws in their record. Get fucking good. Don't draw, just win. No draw, just dub. It's pronounced Leviosa. Panagiatis. Thanks, Harry Potter. Appreciate you. Hermione Granger. Is that? Was Leviosa? It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Swish and Flick. What a classic set of movies. I kind of want to watch the Harry Potter movies again but I have a sneaking suspicion that they are certainly not going to age well. I feel like I will ruin my fond childhood memories of the movies watching them again. And then obviously there's all sorts of like weird discourse about J.K. Rowling, and like the movies are actually like kind of like low key a little problematic, maybe. A real a real product of the 90s kind of deal. Which, you know, that's okay. Stuff we read as kids, probably a lot of it has not aged particularly gracefully, and I think Harry Potter's certainly one of those things. So we're running Demonic Incursion this time around, playing Be'lakor, Kairos Fate Weaver, Rodicus, Skarrand, Guo, Lord of Change. This is so interesting. So the other list that we talked about, which was 5 Greater Demons, that went 5-0 this weekend, was Be'lakor, Kairos, Skarrand, Bloodthirster, Great Unclean One. So it swapped out. It didn't have Rodicus, and it swapped the Lord of Change into another melee threat. This list, I mean, this is a list after my own heart. I think I might be bad at 40k. Because every time I sort of like side-eye these lists, because I'm like, well, they give up maximum secondaries. Your opponent's just going to take fix and they're going to table you. And then everybody whoever like tells me otherwise is like, no. You just don't die. And then I don't understand that. So maybe I'm just fucking trash to play against demons. But, which could be the case. But I don't understand how these lists don't just give up 20 points on everything. And your opponent just gets to like play in the sprinkler and do whatever they want. I guess you just don't engage with them, but you don't have enough units. There's only 3 non-monster, non-character units to perform secondaries with. So, like, it just doesn't make sense to me, chat. Maybe it's a mind game. Maybe they just have to convince their opponents that fixed is bad so that they don't have to like worry about it or anything. Or maybe like everyone has just built their lists assuming that they're playing tactical and they have so much utility that they actually lose a lot of real estate playing fixed. Maybe it's because I play so many weird skews that every time I have seen one of these lists of this style, I think I've maxed my fixed secondaries. But that's oftentimes because I play them with like Bird Flu or all Phoenix Lords or some shit that has bad secondary play regardless. But I guess if you're playing like a regular Ultramarine list, it's actually maybe a little bit tougher. Although Space Marines are gonna rip this a new one. I just don't get it. That's a long-winded way of saying I don't understand how their opponents don't score 40 points every game. Oh man. 6 boys, 0 chill. Fuck yeah, for sure. Marathon should do prequels first. Is there like what's the funny ordering that people recommend that you do for Star Wars prequels? Is there like an ordering like that for I almost said Lord of the Rings, for Harry Potter? All right, what did he have to play in the finals? In the semifinals? Let's look. Inky's here, by the way. Oh yeah, here she is. Oh, baby kitty. Inky doesn't like Sundays because instead of snuggling her at the normally appointed time, I have to stay up late and do Best Armies in 40k. And then she gets upset. She gets really mad. She was yelling at me all morning that I hadn't brushed her in too long. Are you going to go on camera, baby? Or are you just going to hide under the table? No, she's under the table today. All right, that's fine. So matches were Will Furyman, Noble Lance, Elverins times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Warglaives times 1, 2, 3, 4. Immolator. Well, that kind of blanks the benefit of the Immolator, which is funny. Helverins are a little scary, but Imperial Knights are also not very good at screening. The Sisters of Battle help quite a bit, I think. Also, no enhancement on the Atropos. He just lives there. But I mean, maybe it's fine. Skarrand is like a hell of a drug in that matchup. There's also sometimes you get the Lord of Change to do work. He's so random whether or not he kills an Armiger on the crack. But if your opponent ever puts too many of them together, Skarrand can kill 2 in one activation. Because he has 9 attacks, he just splits 4 and 5, and they don't get an invuln save. And then it should be 3 conversions to kill them. So it's like 2s and 2s, and you have to not roll more than either You have to not roll more than 2 1s out of 6 dice. Or 2 1s out of 10 dice, essentially, or like 9 dice, which is relatively likely. And if you have a CP in the chamber to reroll, Scarbrand is actually pretty reasonable to do it. It's way better against Chaos Knights that don't have a Feel No Pain, and then Scarbrand like very cleanly kills 2 of them in one go. He's just like 2s into 3s, I guess. 2s into 3s. And then if he converts them, they just die. But the Imperial Knights have a Feel No Pain, which makes it awkward. But also, Scarbrand is like a really good gun that can ping them for a couple, and that offsets the Feel No Pain. Like, he could shoot one with Bellicor or something, or Kairos. And that should be enough damage to ensure that he can punch through the Feel No Pain, unless they spike really high. But then, if he kills 2 Arbingers in one go, and you could shoot another Arbinger to death, like, they're in a kind of awkward spot. Especially if you kill the Helvrins and you can blank the Warglaives. There's also, I guess, a pretty important break point for the Great Unclean ones, because they push to Strength 10. So they can now wound Knights on 3s, whereas previously they were wounding on 5s, basically regardless of what they did. And so their matchup into Little Knights is insane, because the Little Knights also just bounce off the Endless Gift guy. Endless Ed just like sits there in front of them for a million years and like kills one of them every turn and a half. And then they are sad. They have a sad time. Oh, Grey Knights? Oh yeah, here it is. What was I looking at? Oh, did I look at those quarters or something? Oh, he did actually play against Chaos Knights. That's hilarious. I think this matchup is actually kind of okay for Chaos Demons. It feels weird, but the Demons, like, the invulnerable saves are so... like, you don't get any benefit from the Brigands because they don't get their +1 AP against your, like, full army. Really, Cat? Against your entire army worth of invulnerable saves, and then the Brigands are also just like really bad at punching through the Great Unclean one, and they don't have a Feel No Pain to fall back on, so you can like really easily kill 2 of them in one activation. So it was a Warp Bane task force, a Brotherhood champion. Okay. Not even running Radiant Champion, running Vial of the Abyss. Chaos Synchro, Strike Squad, Rhino. Interceptors ×2, Purgations ×2. Did anybody tell him that Purgation Squads got nerfed? Maybe he didn't realize. +30 Purifiers, let's fucking go, dude! Not particularly good against Toughness 12, unfortunately. Because they're just rolling for 6s, which is a little bit sketchy. And he doesn't have any of like the actual anti-demon tech, right? It's like Drago's the killer, because he comes in with like he just like hits them for 9 damage every time. And I guess the Brotherhood champion's good against the big characters, but otherwise they're just kind of okay. There's just a 10-man strike squad as well. Is this like 60 Space Marines, like 60 Grey Knight Space Marines on the table? Jesus, that's wild. Chat, look at my cat. Yeah. She's been communicating me very subtly all day that she hasn't gotten brushed enough, because she put her brush on the floor in front of me and then she rolled around next to it and cried. She's a great communicator. There's a lot of 2+ saves. Yeah. Turns out Draft of Terror is like the greatest thing in the world at that point, because you could just push everything to like AP3. Or anything. I shouldn't say everything. It's one thing at a time, but you can do a lot of AP3. You get a turn or 2 out of the Fleshhounds as well. Man, I'm so excited that this list did well, because these lists are sick, and I love playing them. I just feel so bad every time somebody's like, I'll take fixed, I guess, and then tables me. Maybe you just don't get tabled, I guess. Easy. Oh, I like own this list too. Inky, do you fucking mind? Jesus Christ, cat. I have all the models for this list. I could just play it. I could just play it right now. Inky is the cutest girl. She's being extremely cute this weekend. I don't know what it was, but she was just a big snuggle bug. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. For context, she's sitting in front of my screen, so I'm having trouble seeing it. So good old Chaos Demons this week. Some big monster stuff. Also some like sort of classic Shadow Legion. Oh, it makes me want to go back to big monster games. What did he lose to? Did he lose the mirror match? He did lose the mirror match. Yeah, that tracks. You just go second and you get, like, he doesn't have any infiltrators. There's no Nurglings in this list, so he just gets hard jailed, like super bad. He can probably clear the... Oh, also, I guess they don't have a fallback and like operate, and the Lords of Change can't shoot into melee, so if he just gets engaged on turn 1 by the Curse Cultist, like he can't shoot them, or he has to fall back. And I assume that Niklas is not gonna... You knocking stuff over now? Niklas is not gonna give him really easy... Now she's stealing my microphone. What are you doing? You're such a rude cat, Inky. Anybody ever tell you that? Will you let me change the camera so people can see? She's sitting on my mouse now. Nope, she's leaving. That was my microphone. How dare you? How dare you? Look at that. Insolence. That's pure insolence, chat. I get no respect in this house. She's just like, what are you going to do? Here's my belly. It's so rubbable. You could pet me. I understand, Inky. She was happy I didn't go to Florida. Yeah, I think so, for sure. She bothered my roommate, but she definitely doesn't enjoy bothering him as much as she likes bothering me. Come back to Tyranids? No, I won't do it. You can't make me go back to Tyranids. Maybe the 11th edition Tyranid Codex will be goated. They'll be like, guys, we made a mistake. We want Tyranids to be xenomorphs again. They're hyper lethal and move faster than everyone in the game, and also have the best psychic powers and also above average shooting. Just make them the best unit, the best army, and then it's good. Was it Inky who owned the car? I wish. Then at least the person who did it would be cute. Yeah, I don't know. I had to take it back to them today. What a fucking mess, dude. So on Friday, I'm gonna vent for a second. On Friday, I took it in and I was like, "Hey guys, it's still broken. What the fuck do you want?" And they're like, "Well, we can't take it over the weekend because we can't hold it in our lot. So theoretically, the maintenance computer should reset itself by Monday if you drive it. If not, bring it back." This is quote, "Bring it back and we'll take it to the dealer to get looked at by a technician." And I said, okay, fine. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but I understand. It's like, you know, hard to do it on a Friday. So I go in after I finish all my shit this morning. I took it over and I gave it to them. And they were like, okay, great. So we'll give it a car wash. And then you could take it to the dealer. And I said, no, that's not what you said. You said, if it's not fixed on... I don't care about a car wash. I don't want a fucking car wash. You said, and I quote, "Bring it in on Monday and we'll take it to the dealer." And he's like, yeah. You like you and me collectively will take it to the dealer. And I was like, no. That's not how words work, my guy. And he's like, well, yeah, but it's like inconvenient for us to take it to the dealer. And I was like, yes, it's also inconvenient for me, and you're the one who broke my fucking car. I was like flabbergasted. The dude legit tried to gaslight me in the middle of his lobby, and I got a little upset at him, which I think I'm justified for. But anyway, he finally agreed to take my car. But they also wouldn't refund me my original fucking part costs, only labor. So I didn't even get a refund on the original maintenance that they suggested that broke my fucking car. I'm really mad about it. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We're talking about 40k. We're talking about cool, fun 40k. Oh my fucking god. Ugh. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like a wash and like maintenance spot. Like they have a wash. They have like a maintenance bay and then also like a car wash. It's like one of those places, you know? And I guess it's like if they could just like pacify me with a car wash, it costs them fucking nothing. They also already washed my car when I brought it in last week. Like, and they're like, "Oh, we'll do it for free." And I'm like, "I don't care. It's gonna get pollen on it in 10 minutes. Like, a car wash doesn't do anything. I'm not here for a car wash. I'm here so I can fucking drive it on the highway." Anyway. Yeah, it's like the royal we, meaning you. He's treating me like I'm an employee, which I was like, no, I paid you money. Like, I'm a customer. Fucking wild, dude. Absolute fucking scumbag of a human being. God, I don't know. It really rubbed me the wrong way. It was at Abject Live what they told me last week. But hopefully they're gonna take it to a technician. I mean, theoretically, I almost like maybe I should do it myself just to ensure they don't fuck it up even more. Because like at this point, maybe they're just gonna crash it or some shit. But I feel like that's more paperwork on their part than they need. But I don't know. But I also don't have time because like I lost an entire weekend worth of work for this whole thing. Like I couldn't go to stream ATC, so I can't give up like a whole day of my time to go to a dealership. The closest dealership's like 5 miles away too, which in Philadelphia is like a long way because it's all city driving. Anyway, we're talking about 40k. I'm done. We're done. So they tried to refresh the computer, and that's what broke it in the first place. I don't know what the fuck they did. Like it just shut the whole all the onboard computer systems off because it had a break. It had a break alarm get tripped, and so they tried to refresh the maintenance computer, and then every single onboard system shut off. All of these onboard sensors were turned off when they did that. So they fucked it up somehow, and I don't know how. Yeah, it should be easy to fix. I agree. But also, I shouldn't be the one to have to fix it. And I think that that's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. I'm for sure expecting that phone call. Like, oh, hey, sorry, man. We had it in the lot, and then someone totaled it. I had that happen one time. As I had my car in a lot for like I don't know, a tire rotation or something, and someone in there, like another customer in their lot, hit it. I was like, the fuck? And those guys were upstanding, and they replaced the thing, and they took it to a body shop and everything, like for free of charge, which is what these people should be doing. But instead, they charged me for fucking half of their maintenance that they broke my car with. Anyway, what are we gonna talk about next, chat? Let's do Dark Angels here. Should we talk about Conrad Schmuck and his Dark Angels? First of all, phenomenal name. What is it? Is it just Austria? Or is it like is it like, it must be an Austrian thing, right? But I guess maybe it's a European thing, generally speaking. Because we have Panagiotis, the great hero of chaos, the great chaos champion, Panagiotis, canonical, like biblical.
Ryan G donated $50 through
Ryan
Super
G,
Chat.
hot damn, dude.
Bought my car in to get serviced once. When I drove my car the next day and my right front wheel fell off. Almost crashed. They forgot to tighten the lug nuts. Just flat out told them pay for the repairs.
Holy shit, dude. 4 new tires and a rotor are loading up. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, fortunately, in theory, it's my thing's a software problem, so they don't need any physical parts. Hopefully, like an actual maintenance computer will be able to repair it without any like parts. I'm mostly upset about lost time is like all it is. Obviously, like if that was fucking if my wheel fell off, yeah, that would have been a whole different story for sure. Wild. But thank you so much for the super chat. I super appreciate that, man. Send me your list. Send me your Death Guard list, and we'll play it. We'll get it going. We'll get it on there. Probably. I don't want to lock in this week because I scheduled that cool. I have a bunch of live streaming going on this week, but probably next week. Paid for your post-work time too? Oh shit. That's what I should do. Should send them an invoice. I live in Philly. Yeah, as of February, the city is cool. The people in the city, they and I do not see eye to eye, I think is part of what we're running into. We've had a lot of problems with just like, I think I described it to a friend as a malaise of like incompetence that just like kind of, it's like this miasma that surrounds the whole city. We've had like in absolutely insane things happen. And it might just be that it's a higher density, like population density that I'm used to. So we get a broader spectrum of people and you tend to notice the people who are fucking morons way more. But we had a FedEx package that was just delivered to the wrong address, like literally on the other side of the entire city, like 2 miles away. We had a FedEx guy hit a dude outside of our house. My roommate, like last week, had a hit and run driver, like hit their car in a parking lot. It's just like shit that I never dealt with in living in Massachusetts is like every fucking day here. I don't know. It's been stressful. It's been a stressful month. Oh boy. Every city? Maybe that's the case. My last city was much smaller, but I didn't notice it quite as much there. People tended to be generally pretty respectful, but I don't know. The army roll of every army that you touch. Yeah, if I was pretty terse with them earlier this week, but if this isn't, I mean, ultimately, like I want it to just be fixed in time for Richmond Open. I will rent a car if it's not worked out by Thursday, but in order to get there, I don't want to miss 2 events in a row. There's no way, but yeah, we'll be having words. I did already threaten them with lawyers last week, if they didn't like sort of make it right. I would rather not because I don't want to put more, sort of good time after bad, but we'll see. I do want to talk about this Dark Angels list, though, instead of talking about my car. It's only like 7 units. I mean, we did well with the Land Raiders list, right? And that feels like it's Land Raiders 2.0, basically. Yeah, all right. I mean, the detachment is locked in because it has to have 3 greater demons, but we'll see. So first of all, Conrad Schmuck, phenomenal name, A+ naming convention. What's he playing in Dark Angels? Gladius Task Force with an ancient, like a regular ancient, not a Blade Guard ancient or a Terminator ancient, just a regular ass ancient whose data sheet I'm about to pull up. Now I believe that these guys are Blade Guard ancients. They can't, but they just get a weapon. Is the big difference between them? I don't really understand why this is still a unit because it feels very old school design ethos. Yeah. Oh, he gets his sword. Okay, so it's not quite a real weapon, but at least he gets his sword. His bolt rifle and close combat weapon can replace the power weapon. We ended up taking a power weapon. Yeah. So he's 5 attacks, strength 5, AP2, 1 damage. It's only 1 damage, but 5 attacks, AP2 is pretty okay. The Blade Guard Ancient, awkwardly, despite joining in with an elite sword brother squad of the Adeptus Astartes, does not get a sword. But this guy does, because he's neat. While you are within range of the objective marker, of unobjective marker, or within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield, he gains 4+ feel no pain. He has only 4 wounds, and it is only him. It's not his unit. But that does make him kind of annoying to engage with, especially given the fact that you can squad tactics him. So he might be being played as a singleton, actually, just by himself. We have Azrael, Judiciar, Combi Lieutenant, Assault Intercessor Squad, double Jump Pack Squads, triple Deathwing Knights, normal stuff, an Inner Circle Companion Unit, Squads ×2, Vindicators ×2. So almost certainly... So there's no transports in the list whatsoever. Yeah, no transports whatsoever. So almost certainly the Judicious hanging out with the Assault Intercessors. Oh, thanks. YouTube Premium. Imagine somebody buying YouTube Premium. Everybody should buy YouTube Premium. He can double attach, but only with Azrael's unit. And he can join Inner Circle Companions. But I don't know if that's what we're doing. I have a sneaking suspicion that this guy's just doing utility stuff. Because he can sit on your backline objective, and he can, even if your opponent artilleries him, he's a 3+ armor, 4+ feel no pain. So it's actually unlikely that he gets knocked by like random artillery. You have to drop like actual artillery teams to kill him. Which is cool. That's really cool technology, actually. Because normally we see the Blade Guard Ancient, which is 5 points cheaper, I believe. It's the cheapest single entity, I think, in the Space Marine Codex. Except that he doesn't like do anything. He has this like once per game you get an extra attack. And he doesn't have a weapon. What the fuck? Why did we give the Blade Guard guy a sword? This is what confounds me sometimes about Games Workshop's like top-down unit design. Is that they're like, all right, we made a model that's cool. You know, something, we're a model company first or whatever. We made a model that's cool. Let's make a datasheet for it. Oh, we didn't give him a sword on the model, so he doesn't get a sword. You couldn't give him an AP2 knife profile. He's just punching you. Which is like, makes him just the worst, the worst combat character ever. Which is why he's so fucking cheap. But he's a single cheapest unit, but he doesn't have any defensive abilities. The other guy, though, Corpus Feel No Pain, that's actually sick. For only 5 more points? I really like this dude, actually. I'm surprised I haven't seen him before. That's neat. They don't currently have a model? Is that true? I like our model rabbit holes, chat. No, they do. They do have a model. Check it. Check it! It's one of those single sprue blister pack things. Or I guess it's 2 sprues, actually. Apparently, Warhammer term ancient doesn't mean old. It's based off the 16th century English term, which means flag or ensign. That is a piece of trivia that I did not realize. Huh. I just assumed it was either like they bestowed the relics of the chapter to the oldest, like he was like a battle sage kind of guy, you know what I mean? Who would like recite the litanies of the chapter, or he carried relics, right? Like ancient relics. But I didn't know it had an alternative definition. Yeah. Huh. Huh. That's wild. What a time to be alive. You learn something new every day, chat. So who do you think it's given the ancient? So wait, is the guy the ancient? Or is the flag the ancient? It must be the guy, right? No, it must be the flag. Because the term refers to the flag. So who's the guy? He's just like an average Joe. He's like a regular intercessor. They pull a regular intercessor out. I'm gonna win a game of Trivial Pursuit because of that at one point. It's gonna be awesome. It's a roundabout way of saying the flag bearer, maybe. So we have Azrael to hang out with the Inner Circle Companions, Judiciary for the counterpunch, Combi Weapon Lieutenants, Assault Intercessor Squad, Double Jump Packs. Oh, we already talked about all this stuff in the list. So it's only 2 Vindicators for shooting, and then everything else is just big melee bricks. Just like very straightforward. I appreciate that. It's just 5 melee bricks, Deathwing Knights, times 3 Inner Circle Companions to hang out with them. And then the big Assault Intercessor Squad to like sit behind them. They probably sit behind a wall 6 inches away from the front of those guys, then declares an heroic intervention if you ever go anywhere. But it is very aggressive, right? It's an extremely aggressive list. Between these guys, probably rapid ingressing to some extent. And then everything else pushing up. I guess we do need that one little dude at the back to hold down the backline objective, because there's no intercessors for OBSEC either. You're worse than us. Hold the flag. Yeah. Hey man, we noticed you're a shithouse shot with your bolt rifle. Why don't you take this knife and this big stick? Incredible. Ancient is the title. I'm sure someone can look it up in Lexicanum real quick and then tell me the actual answer. What else do we want to talk about here today, chat? I talked a little bit about Grey Knights already. Oh, let's talk about Eldar. Nicholas Papadopoulos running Aeldari. It is a devoted of Yediad detachment with 3 Autarchs. Oh man. If I didn't think Autarchs were just the coolest thing ever, this would be the worst form of spamming. But I think that they're so neat that I guess we'll let it fly. Vice Arc Yvrain, triple Autarch. It's Dark Reapers ×2, Fire Dragons ×2, Howling Banshees ×3, Rangers ×2, Warp Spiders ×2. It does have the Incubi brick, and it does have the Windrider brick, and a Wave Serpent, and a Venom. Jesus. All right. So the Venom can embark the Cavalry Warriors. We dual attach the big characters into the Incubi, so we can go do stabby stuff. Be a big stabby boy. The Wave Serpent, I imagine, carries the Dark Reapers around, or carries the Fire Dragons around. And then I guess the question is where the Autarchs go. I guess it almost certainly has to be with the Fire Dragons and the Dark Reapers, but they're all fusion guns. Can we put them with the Howling Banshees? Does that do anything? I don't know if there are any strats that we're really excited about using on those guys. They just get the advance in charge from leading the unit, right? And then they reroll advance rolls. Oh, so that's actually sick on the Howling Banshees, because then they go fast. And reroll agile maneuvers, which is also potentially good if you do the fallback agile maneuver. What stratagems do we have that's good on them? I've lost my way. Oh, I think hilariously, Wahapiti is actually borked on Devoted of Eniad, because it's Ynnari keyworded stuff, and so it actually like removes all of the stratagems from all of the unit cards, because they're not Ynnari until they're in the detachment. That's super funny, actually. We can give them below starting strength rerolls, but I feel like we'll mostly be dead. Fight on Death, I guess, is actually pretty sweet. 1 CP Fight on Death is actually kind of neat. Like the Aspect Ocean for Auto Window and his Melta. Oh, that's cute as well, because they don't really need it in melee. But then you also deliver his, like, because he has a 3 damage melee attack, right? So you're delivering his melee attack. God, I need to fucking log back into my Boosty account. Yeah, so it's 4 strength 6, AB 3 damage, more attacks on that unit. What's the cost of the regular Howling Banshee squad? 90 points. So it's 165 for the full brick. Feels a little light, I guess, for 165 points, but maybe I'm wrong. At least it's like super fast. This is a neat list, though. Obviously, We see some of the normal stuff that we have been seeing in Ynnari, like mass, little units, MSU, plus the one Incubi squad. The Wind Riders, in addition to the Incubi, is interesting because those were kind of an answer to Mordaka, but now we're not dealing with Mordaka. We're just still taking the infantry sweeping squad. But I guess it's good because like we're not taking striking scorpions at all since they got points increased. So we don't really have like the high volume as much. So being able to just dump like 30 shots downrange at any point when we need to is actually pretty cool. They're also 12 OC and they're really fast. So like lethal intent flipping objectives is actually probably pretty relevant with them. Five Banshees outside aspect toes can be not enough damage. 10 is too clunky, so it's the perfect middle. Yeah, that makes sense. Plus, they're slightly faster than just regular, like 10 regular Banshees would be. But it's such a limited attack volume. Like, I'd be so worried about just, like, flubbing. You know what I mean? Like, it's 4 attacks from the Autarch. What is the Banshee Exarch's, like, 3 more attacks, right? With the big sword. And then each of the Banshees is 2, so it's like 14 total attacks. You're paying like 10 points per attack. It is Executioner is 3 at 633. So it's actually slightly better than the Autarch, which is funny. So it's like you get 1.5 Exarchs in the unit, essentially. Plus a free strat, plus advances. But you also get the fusion gun. Maybe it's okay. So it's 6 3 damage attacks and 8 2 damage attacks. Yeah, so 14 total attacks. That's why you love Aspect Toast? Yeah. It's interesting in Aspect Toast for sure. Because then you also, if you don't use the fusion gun or the Aspect token for the fusion gun, you can get like sustain lethal, right? Which actually gets a little spicy with hit rerolls. It is... Oh, that's shooting phase only. No, just kidding. Aspect Toast doesn't have any melee buffs? Huh. That's weird that that's only shooting phase. That'd be really good. That would be really good. And grenades keyword if you need it. Oh, Howling Banshees don't have grenades? God. What in Eldar does have a grenade? Do Dire Avengers have grenades? You'd think if anyone would have a grenade, it would be the aggressive like melee unit. Dire Avengers have grenades. Do Strikey Scorpions have grenades? They've got to, right? No. Do Dark Reapers have grenades? No. It's literally only Dire Avengers. Why? But Guardians. Do Guardians have it? Grenades must be... wait, Guardians have it. What the fuck? Wait, so like, if I've joined the military of an Eldar craft world, and if I'm just like a random mook, like I normally run a convenience store, but today I'm operating in my capacity as a citizen soldier, a member of the National Guard, they will give me an explosive device. But if I'm a 10,000-year-old warrior who's been training in the various methods of war since I was a young little tyke, then no grenade for me. I can't have a grenade. Only a pistol. A little pistol. Why? What determines who has grenades? Listen, I'm okay with the grenade keyword being more limited in 40k. It's really broken. Grenades are broken, chat. You heard it here first. But I largely only think they're broken because like many factions don't have access to them. However, it also keys your damage output directly to your CP generation. It's a whole thing. But anyway, I wish that they would apply them with a little bit more tact, I guess. It's like super random. The path of the Banshee didn't pass the armory. Yeah, there's still like you can imagine like the only reason Banshees use swords is because like no one has updated their equipment since like the Aeldari equivalent of the 19th century. You're like, have at thee! We will charge with our bayonets and sabers, and everyone else is like running a an assault rifle with an ACOG and like side eyeing like, yeah, Howling Banshees, you do it. Good job. You're the best. Oh, man. You're worse than us. Hold these grenades. Yeah. Maybe, I guess actually it's probably contextualized as like Eldar being so such noble warriors, noble and honorable warriors that they would not fall to. They hubristically believe they don't need explosives to defeat their opponent. They will do it with a sword. While we were building explosives, they were studying the blade. Anyway, chat. That's Hirai Yvrain hooked up with Robuti Gilliman, though. Because he loves issuing grenades to his units. He issues grenades to his bicycles. As we talked about over the weekend. Fucking Invader ATVs, dude. Holy shit. What a unit that is. Monkey tactics. Do fire dragons have grenades? I'm a riot if fire dragons don't have grenades. Let's go to 39k. It's a little bit faster. Actually, I don't know if I would believe them if they said fire dragons have grenades. Survey says they do. All right. Well, the one aspect that for sure canonically should have grenades at least does, so that's good. Questions about Imperial Knight or Imperial Agents. We can take a look at Agents. Looks like we are dead on Agents here, chats. Yeah, all the way down. I'm sorry, chat. No Agents today on this one. People have fallen off Agents a little bit, which is a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, I guess Hawks have it because they shoot them out of their feet, right? So here's another event, and we can talk about this in a bit here. Actually, let's move over. Unless we have anything else we want to take a peek at, I guess this is a Cpace Marine list. Oh, it's Renegade Raiders, Double Chaos Lord, Cypher, Terminator Sork, so we can stack our AP buffs. And call this mob Legionary Legionary unit. Double Chaos Rhino, Chaos Biker, Triple Destructor, Shosen, a Possessed Squad, Warp Talons, Noise Marines, Raptors, Double Noise Marines. So I guess like maybe are the Noise Marines broken? Find out after these messages. I guess it'd be interesting to see how many Cpace Marines did well. We had a 3-1-1. Which was pact bound. No noisy boys. And then 3-2. So I'm curious to see whether or not this technology catches on. Because there are some people I know who are very like vocal in the community who think that this is going to literally like end the universe. That Noise Marines are going to be allowed into Cpace Marine armies. First of all, Cpace Marine armies are not like wildly overperforming right now. Giving them a good unit is not going to end the universe. I do understand that I think they are very good in Renegade Raiders because giving them AP buffs is huge. It goes a really long way with them. As well as like an advance and shoot with no strings. They have less support than other units do, and they have less support than they even do in Emperor's Children like normally. So I don't know. Maybe it's fine. We'll find out, I guess. I'm curious about it. Better question is, should Emperor's Children actually have other range options? I think that they should. I am worried for Emperor's Children because I do think that, like, especially Death Guard, like, running in and being like, hey, we have, like, outlets for fights first and reactive abilities everywhere. I think if they become super meta, I think Emperor's Children just, like, face plant and fall over, which feels bad. They're also really high toughness characteristics a lot of times, so you're like winning on 5s and 4 and 6s with a lot of Emperor's Children stuff. Because Emperor's Children hits very accurately, but not very hard. And I don't think it's going to be able to punch through their defensive stat lines. It's like a weird profile matchup, I think, and it's like two armies that are kind of diametrically opposed in what they want to do, which I think Death Guard just win out at. So I don't know. I think that if you had access to things that could like interact with objectives without having to donate units to the objective, that would help Emperor's Children quite a bit in those matchups. But we'll see. There's also like there's the door is always open for Games Workshop to release new units into factions with their like little datasheet updates. So I would not be surprised if we saw an update to Emperor's Children at some point that was like, here are some datasheets. I don't know. Noise Marines compete with Havocs with heavy bolters. I mean, it's like a different unit archetype, right? It might be Havocs, but people weren't really playing Havocs. Oh, they compete with Rubric Marines, I think, is the other thing that people like. That's what people were taking in that spot. Noise Marines obviously do it at a longer distance, but are more expensive. But are multi-damage. I mean, I think they're just better than Rubric Marines, to be fair, actually. But it's probably the closest comparison that you have. Do I feel the same about Emperor's Children versus Custodes? No, I don't think so. Custodes doesn't have the same incidence of fights first, because basically they got all their fights first gutted. I do think that it's... I don't want to say it's Custodes favored. Actually, I don't think I have enough experience in the matchup to say one way or another, but it like Emperor's Children wildly out-threading Custodes, I think helps quite a bit. Because you can pick your fights, right? It is unfortunate that like Wardens can be such a brick wall to them. But if you can like stagger your attacks, like you can donate 2 like Lord Exultant units into a Warden squad before they're like of equal points cost. And also you can try to the Noise Marines are actually kind of probably a big factor in that matchup too, because you can try to force their they're gonna leave a message. Because you can try to force their saving throw or their feel no pain on the shooting phase before you get in with melee. So it's actually probably a little bit closer, I imagine. Like this profile is like so much better into a Custodes army than I think it is a Death Guard army, in my opinion. Played a practice game with Death Guard with new points. T7 is wild in so many things. Strength 7 winning on 4s. Custodes Bikes winning on 3s. Last Cannon's winning on 3s. Yeah, I mean, it's good. But previously they were like the wounding didn't change that much, right? Because like they were T6 but -1 to be wounded on Death Rod Terminators. Now they're just T7. But obviously they have like the extra wound, which I think goes a really long way. Who is fucking calling me right now? I'm gonna take this call in case it's something important here, chat. One sec. I'm sorry, chat. We lost the car. Yeah, I don't know. That was the place. They said that they fixed it. I don't know what the fuck they did in the last 2 hours that they haven't done in the last week. We'll see. We'll see, chat. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go over and get it today because I'm on stream right now, but we'll find out, I suppose. Anyway, chat. Fucking Jesus Christ. They did their job? I doubt that. I'm a level? I doubt that. I just hit it with a wrench until it worked. Oh boy. You washed the car, yeah. Fuck me, dude. I'm gonna go back today and they're gonna be like, oh hey man, the lights are still on, but we changed the oil again. My guy. If that's the case, I'm taking it to the fucking court. If they called me to go over there and they haven't fixed it, I'm calling a lawyer. It's just like fucking nuts, dude. Oh man. Anyway, what a mess, chat. Don't trust mechanics, I guess, is the moral of the story. I think I've had a good track record of mechanics. I've always been like, my mechanics have always been great. Until now. That's what I get. That's what I get for putting my faith in the profession. God damn it, dude. The movie just falls apart, yeah. My roommate was like, "Oh, double check that you still have your spare tire when like you pick it up. Like, make sure you have all this shit in your trunk." I took all the valuable stuff out of my car, obviously, but I was like, "Yeah, make sure I'll have all my toolboxes and chargers and shit." I just like steal my stuff. I don't know. Anyway. I appreciate you guys bearing with me on this this saga. I'm sorry that we keep on interrupt this otherwise regularly scheduled live stream for stupid trash, but we're getting there, chat. There is another event I want to talk about because I didn't get to talk about it over the weekend, and we're gonna dive into that one real quick right here before we move too far. There is only War GT. This is an 61 player GT. I believe it ran 6 rounds. It did. It ran 6 rounds, and it's Pacific Northwest, or I guess not Northwest, but just Pacific time for me, which is really tough. So basically, this event I think had basically just paired round 6 at the time that I was recording my Best Armies video. Which was at like 11 p.m. my time. So I was like, there's no fucking way that this event is making it on here. But I didn't get to talk about it, which is wild because Drukhari also went undefeated. So we had 2 Drukhari undefeated at this weekend, which is crazy cool. The Tales of Trevy's Ride, indeed. Yeah, we'll make I'm doing a book deal. We're gonna make some movies, bro. Oh man, if they found Harry Dan in the trunk, they go out of there to destroy him. No, Harry Dan's safe. I have a chest of drawers right next to me with all my Tyranids in it. Harry Dan's safe in the chest of drawers right now. I should put him up though. I should put him up on the shelves. Although he's gonna fall off the shelves, I think. I need a better base for him. I need to build him an actual base. So Jason McKenzie won it with Chaos Daemons. Oh, it was a shady Lego. So we actually I was like talking up Demonic Incursion, but apparently Shady Legion basically just won every other event. It was a Rendmaster, Fade Thirster, Lord of Change with Mantle of Gloom. Fuck, this is like -1 leadership in Aurora, right? Is that a points filler? Mantle of Gloom. Oh, -1 objective control with an engagement range. Okay. Makes the Lord of Change get an objective holding, I guess. But like, I think that's ideally intended for a Great and Clean one. I don't know if I would get a lot of use out of that on a Lord of Change. The Incursion got some really good play. I mean, Incursion did great this weekend. It was just interesting because all the events that I missed talking about were the ones that got won by a Shadow Legion. So it looks like Incursion was like dominating. We have a Rend Master. We do have a Bloodletter unit. Right after I talked shit about Bloodletters on stream the other day, we do have a Bloodletter unit winning a GT. Plus a Plague Bearer unit, Nurglings, normal stuff, double Beasts of Nurgle, Blood Crushers. I played Blood Crushers the other day, and I was really not feeling them, but I think that they're good in maybe singletons. Just as a little, they're like a really good disruption piece. Advance and charge is really big on them. It gets them around corners much more easily. Because they also have +1 to charge like baked in. Then they do mortals, plus they attack. If you have the Rendmaster buff on them, they go crazy. Awkward part is that they like their baseline stats are really inconsistent. So it's a 4+ to do mortal wounds, and then 4+ weapon skill attacks plus 2 3+ weapon skill attacks. It's all like really mid strength. I think the Juggernaut strength 6/9, which is good. Which also means that you get like anti synergy from the Lance strat. It's a weird unit. They felt like really awkward to play with. I kind of wish they were just a little bit cheaper, and that would make me happy. They're also really easy to kill now because they're just like just 3+ save guys. Flamers to regenerate with Death Denied. A bunch of Flesh Hounds. No, here's the kicker, chat. Not a single Chaos Space Marine in sight. This is all. It's all Chaos Demons all the time today. Now, I'm really curious about this Lord of Change technology because I think this detachment really wants to have guns. The problem is that demons have bad guns, which I think is good. If demons had really good guns, the faction would be overpowered, I think. The Lord of Change is a particularly bad gun, but being able to jump it around and protect it with Be'lakor is really, really big deal. Now, the Mantle of Gloom is not a points filler enhancement. It's 20 points. So we're clearly using that for something, and I'm so interested in what we're using it for. It might be that he just like holds his backline objective, and if you charge him, then he probably out OCs you if you're a like OC2 infantry. Actually, he pushes OC1 infantry down to 0, I think, because it's a -1 OC effect rather than an OC halving effect. So you can go to 0, but it's so curious that it's on a Lord of Change. Just a guy. Demon players can't decide which detachment's the better one. Yeah, I mean, I think it's demons are a little spoiled for choice in terms of detachments, right? Because like both Demonic Incursion and Shady Legos are really good. They're just good detachments. Like I don't know what else to say. Demonic Incursion is just super maneuverable. Shadow Legion has literally 6 different detachment abilities smashed together. It's better offense out of Shadow Legion, I think, but you don't get the characters and you're a little bit less maneuverable. So, like, it's a trade-off, which I think is neat. The internal balance of demons, outside of, like, Slash being basically stone cold unplayable. Thanks, Legion of Excess, you piece of shit. The internal balance of demons, at least between those detachments and maybe to some extent, like, Plague Legion, is really fun and cool. Demons are in a really interesting spot. Bloodletters and Blood Crushers are better in World Eaters. Yeah, that's probably the case for sure. I do think that it was kind of mulling it over because we did have a discussion in the comment section of the live stream last week about Bloodletters, and I think they're so inconsistent, and it's just like everything I ever talked about in my entire life. I wish that everything was a Lord Exultant, chat. I wish that everything was just like 2s rerolling into 4s, probably rerolling with 1,000,000 attacks. Just like we just smooth out the numbers, you know what I mean? But like Bloodletters are coming in. Let's pull up their data sheet. With such a low attack volume that in order to get use out of them, you have to do so much work. Those are Blood Crushers. I've lost Bloodletters. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. Here we go. You have to do so much work because their baseline profile is like really mid, right? Like 5/2/2 is good, right? That's a Blade Guard veteran, but they're only 2 attacks. So, and they have no other baked in like efficiency. It's essentially besides smooth bonuses. And they're super easy to kill. For 11 points a model, they're like light infantry stat lines. So they just get vaporized. and their attack volume is really limited. But I was kind of thinking about it, and the Bloodletters like are probably they're like a good concentrator for buffs, because as soon as you make that profile reliable, they're the only thing in the Khorne demon part of the index that can actually like utilize those buffs well, essentially. So like the comparison is Fleshhounds, I guess, which have lower AP and damage but a higher volume. But we can source a baked-in +1 to wound on Bloodletters that we can't on Fleshhounds, and the points value between 10 Fleshhounds and 11 Bloodletters, 10 plus a character, is pretty similar. So Bloodletters are slower, they have higher damage attacks, but fewer attacks. So it's like kind of a wash, and if you're trying to stack to armor crack, the higher base AP and damage is maybe better. They're also smaller individual models, so they're easier to like actually apply to a target. So that is to say that I think it's less of a direct comparison than I was kind of like mathing out in my head. If you are like comboing them out, and this list obviously is comboing them out, we can give them +1 strength, AP, and damage with the Renmaster, +1 AP into wound with the Lance strat. So the Bloodletters can go to like 6'3", 6'4", 3. Which is pretty all right, and potentially hitting on 2s if your Bloodthirster's there, but I think that's like living in Magical Christmas Land a little bit. But like 20 attacks at 6'4", 3, winning on 4s, essentially almost everything is like, it is good. And the comparison would be only 6'3", 2 on Fleshhounds for more points because you don't have the attached character in the Bloodletter unit. So like, I don't know. Maybe there's something there. But anyway, chat. It's a big conversation about Bloodletters. Let's talk about Drukhari. Wyatt Harris running Drukhari, a Reaper's Wager. Is it a Reaper's Wager with no Harlequins, though? No. But we do have Harlequins this time. So we're running an Archon with our Trader, so we get the Scout, the early game Scout, plus a Beastmaster, so for some additional scouting, so lots of scouting. Lilith Hesprax, Urian Rakarth, Cabalite Warrior Squad, double Witches. Oh, excuse me. No, Racks and Witches. I was like, double Witches? Why do we have 5 models here? You can't take 5 Witches. No. Racks and Witches. A Raider, double Venoms, a Court of the Archon. So I wonder if we put a Cabalite Warrior Squad and the Venom, and then Combat Squad it out to put the Archon and the Court of the Archon into a Raider, potentially, to deliver it. And then we have another Combat Squad for the Witches as well, and then 2 utility units to run around. We have a Kronos, a Grotesque unit. It can also go into the Raider because it's little baby boy Grotesque unit. It's a little bit strange that like Raiders aren't on 12 transport capacity and Grotesques aren't two models to be transported. That feels like that would change the internal balance of that codex quite a bit, but I don't know. Or the index, I should say. Mandrakes for some utility. Scourges ×2. Talos ×2. Solitaire, a troop. 5 models in a troop and a troop master. No transport for them. We don't have any Starweavers. So we're running the Solitaire as just like a fighty dude, and then the troop master and the troop, I guess, just run around. We can advance and charge with them, so just like acting as a little bit of an onboard threat is probably the case, because they do have a high base movement. They're move 8. So being able to advance and charge and then just deliver a bunch of devastating wounds to somebody is pretty solid. It's like 10 Aberrants fitting into a Goliath truck, except for some reason, the Grotesques take up 3 spots in a Raider. Like 10 Aberrants into a Goliath truck. Like, at least Aberrants are... They do have like insane stats, but at least they're 32 mil bases. Like, they're actually kind of small. The Grotesques are relatively big, but you can only fit 3 of them. It's like... And I understand that like physically you could probably only fit 3, but that's never stopped Games Workshop. You can put like 11, 12 noise Marines into a fucking Rhino. That doesn't make sense. Those guys are the size of a truck. You could put 10 Flash gets into an orc truck. Like that doesn't matter. Transports are like a weird ethereal realm where you can fit bigger things than exist in there. And I think that the grotesques, like their usefulness on the table is severely limited by their lack of transportability. Like if you could bring 6 grotesques into a raider in Sky Splinter Assault, that would, I think, almost entirely transform how that entire detachment plays. Because suddenly you would have like a strong, resilient, like onboard threat that you could get Lance out of the transport in. Yeah, they changed Deathguard Land Raiders to fit the Terminators. They've changed. They did the same thing with the World Eater Sand Raiders, so they could fit the Slaughterbounds. They did the same thing with Impulsors like a million times, because they moved them to 7, so you could put a 6 model unit with the character in to make them actually playable with Blade Guard veterans. Like they changed the transport capacity quite a bit, and I was thinking. I mean, I mentioned we'll see it happen when Drukhari finally get their codex, but it's going to be a while apparently. All right. Anything else we want to talk about, chat? We can talk about Space Wolves at the end here. Could have still had the Tantalus, yeah, for sure. Tantalus is cool. There's a little bit of Death Watch going on. Some Adeptus Custodes. There's Sisters. 4-2 though. Tiered list. Corvus Blackstar is not one kill team, yeah. Corvus Blackstar has an actual transport capacity, which was sad. Otherwise, you can't do the thing where you fit like 12 Gravis dudes into a Corvus Blackstar. That was the classic. It's like a 36 transport capacity or whatever. Good stuff. For 24 transport capacity, if you compare it to other transports. It's very funny. Are there any Thousand Suns? Great question. 3-3, not great. Any at the Leoben Open? 2-2-1. Thousand Suns are in a little bit of a holding pattern right now, I think, chat, because I just got assaulted by my cat. Because they... What's up, Inky? What are you doing? You hanging out? Yeah. Because they are just awaiting their codex, which is probably pretty close. Oh, I like that he posts up what his characters are modeled like. That's cute. He's rocking Aramon, Magnus, an Infernal Master, 3 Infernal Masters. Hey, we're in triple Infernal Master territory. For a while, it was only 1. It's a Numberlifted Crystal Guy, a Lord of Forbidden Lore. Interesting, on the Infernal Master, so we can duplicate our stuff. And then an Arcane Vortex for the shooting and punching dude. 20 Rubric Marines, 4 units of 5, all Flamers and Reaper Cannons. A Zangor unit for the backline. Double Cultists, man after my own heart. Plus Zangor Enlightened, plus 2 Mutalith Vortex Beasts. Pretty standard stuff, I think I would assume. I guess, like, the triple Infernal Master has been a little bit rarer these days. I think people are moving away from Rubric Marines. The problem with Thousand Suns is that, like, I mean, it's a lot of problems. The faction has a lot of problems. It's, like, super front-loaded and the army ability is really parasitic. But, like, they made Rubric Marines the only good and synergistic unit in the faction, and then we're like, oh, you guys keep spamming Rubric Marines, so we have to upcharge them. We're like, you're just making the whole faction bad. Like, they don't have anywhere else to go. It's sad. Do I have a newfound respect for homunculus units? I have a newfound respect for Rax. Everything else performed just about as I would expect. But Rax, dude. The number of times that my opponent would be like, I'll shoot this Rax squad and it will die. And I'll be like, will it? And then 2 Rax and the homunculus would live. And then he would charge it. The homunculus would still live. And then the homunculus would kill half of his unit in the crackback. I was like, these fucking guys rule. They're anti-infantry 2, D3 damage, like AP 2. I was like, what the fuck? It's like 2s re-rolling into 2s. And they would almost always put 4 saves on my opponent, and almost always 2 to 3 of them would go through, and they would almost always kill 1 to 2 like heavy infantry models. They would basically, every single fight phase, each homunculus killed its points value, almost literally, which was wild. And maybe that's like because they're good into Space Marine profiles. That's a profile matchup thing, but it was crazy. 2 homunculus basically killed an entire aggressor squad. And I was like, this is fucking nuts. These guys are insane. Like, why is no one funding this, you know? And then a 4+ feel no pain on 10 models. They're only 1 wound, obviously, but that's the place where a 4+ feel no pain can be good. And because it's a leadership ability, so it sticks around when you target them, the homunculus itself is actually difficult to kill in 1 swing. I liked him. If Covens had the AP contagion, they'd be insane. Well, they're basically entirely AP 2 and 3 because you empower them all the time. So it didn't feel that bad. Drukhari will break the game once they get a codex. Yeah, there's a transport faction. Just like a Death Guard. Every time a transport faction gets printed, it breaks the game again. Wild. Fucking transports, chat. Get them out of my game. I don't want them. The game's the least fun mechanic. Let's talk about Space Wolves. Let's talk about Space Wolves. Getting a Zangor detachment to pay for it in the codex of getting it for Grossmas. Yeah, instead we get Hexwarp Thrallband. I imagine in an army that's not built around Magnus being like the only good unit in the army, Hexwarp Thrallband will actually probably be better, but we'll see. I also within the like design cycle, Hexwarp Thrallband would almost certainly have been written with the new codex in mind. Obviously, that's like also the case for like the fucking Armored War host, and that's a piece of trash anyway. But maybe it'll have synergy with the codex. 2 insane new rhinos, yeah. What would the insane rhino from 1,000 Suns need to be? Maybe it has like a reactive move. I bet it has a reactive move or something. All right, chat. Space Wolves, and then we'll hop off. Space Wolves getting a pulsar with a Sol ramp. Fuck yeah. Inky. Yeah. So Logan Grimner got a new model. It looks fucking gorgeous. I hope. Well, I don't know if it means for sure that Storm Rider's like gone forever, but this is way nicer looking than Storm Rider. He's going to be the correct scale. His previous versions were kind of small and weird. He's got big. His wolves are on his base, so he's almost certainly going to have like a trillion fucking attacks because he's going to have his attacks. Like a slash or a strike or a sweep profile plus a like 8 to 10 additional extra attacks. So anything that multiplies attacks are going to be crazy with him. He's also like enormous. Is this 100 mil or 80 mil or something? He's like in a huge base. Gorgeous, absolutely sick model. Arjank Rockfist is back on a big 50 mil. It looks like. He's got an optional arm for throwing his hammer. I like that he has like a little teleport homer thing on his wristband too. It looks like the teleport homer from the old Terminator kit, which I made a short on the T-Rex channel, by the way. Lets you flip a roll to a 6 once per turn. Please no. I mean, I'll play it. I got my 1,000 Suns Rhino sitting right next to me actually, so I'll play the shit out of that. New Nyal Stormcaller model, which I was not expecting. The old Nyal Stormcaller model looked pretty good, but this one is amazing. Absolutely cracked. It's crazy that, like, I guess they take every 2 codexes off, right? Because Death Guard and World Eaters got basically nothing. Space Wolves will come out and have, like, an entire range re-release, basically. And I guess, like, they're coming out alongside 1,000 Suns. 1,000 Suns could maybe get some news. Be nice. Refreshed Grey Knights. Are they getting stuff? Because like it might be. Seems like a next edition thing, maybe. Get some new Terminators. What do you think the odds are these guys are trash? I think it's about 110%. I think it's a greater than 100% chance that they're literally unplayable. So leader has claws, I guess, or I guess an optional thunder hammer. I think the axes are probably just like an heirloom weapon, and that's all the Space Wolf stuff. Yeah, the claws do look good. All right, chat. I have to go to the bathroom, so I think I'm gonna pop off. This is a little bit of a disjointed stream. We'll be more on point tomorrow. We're going to talk about new points values tomorrow. Should have you redirect over to you once this stream is over. Don't forget as well, on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a live playthrough for Warhammer 40k. We're just going to do like a tutorial because we have a bunch of new players in the Discord server. So if you're interested in that, come hang out. I'm going to be in a Discord channel for people if they want to ask questions live and stuff like that. So it'll be 5 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Wednesday. We'll also have some event finals happening on Twitch tomorrow. So with that, folks, I'm going to pop out. Cheers, everyone. Keep it classy. Have happy wargaming. And I'll see you in the next one.